From beautiful downtown Millheim, in the smack dab center of the Keystone State, this is Lou Bryson with Seen Through a Glass, the podcast that's mostly about food and drink in central Pennsylvania. Welcome to episode 33, The Friday Fish Fry. I grew up in rural Lancaster County in a deeply homogeneous area. My school district was 99% white, probably 90% Republican, and 99% Protestant. I think there were maybe 3 Catholic families in the whole 3-township district. I say this by way of explaining that the Friday fish fry was a discovery I only made in my mid-20s. My college dining hall usually had a fish or vegetarian option on Fridays and always during Lent, but it never really made a big impact on me until I moved to Kentucky. Suddenly, I was dropped in the middle of a Catholic-majority area, and there were fish fries and 50-50 raffles and bean dinners. I was astonished. Here was this whole widespread subculture I knew nothing about. They had great food. Well, usually great food. I soon discovered that while some fish fries were excellent, with crisply breaded cod or haddock with lemon slices and freshly concocted tartar sauce, hand-cut fries or potato salad, and homemade desserts to make you swoon, some fish fries were drearily perfunctory, warmed-up frozen fish fillets and crinkle-cut potato shapes with a styrofoam cup of applesauce and a couple store-bought cookies. I reacted as I have to similar situations since I was quite young. I got picky. And as my tastes matured, sounds so much better than calcified, I didn't let my friends eat at junk fish fries either. Which is why I really wanted to do this episode. Fish fries, as much as good beer, are where I cut my teeth as a critic and a discoverer of good stuff. We're really going back to my roots here. And we're going to get to it. But first, here's what I'm drinking today. Today, I'm drinking Powder Charge Imperial Dark IPA from the Ways Restaurant and Brewery in Glenside, Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's another small distribution beer. In fact, I'm pretty sure you can only get it at the Ways. But it's a dark, hazy IPA, and I couldn't resist talking about that. I got this beer when we taped an episode of What's Brewing PA at the Ways recently. That episode will air on March 2nd and be available on YouTube shortly afterwards. We did some fun stuff, predicting how the National League East will pan out based on beers from the team's cities, but we also got into the beers at the Ways, and Powder Charge fascinated me. I mean, a dark hazy? How can you tell? The thing is, in a proper hazy IPA, the haze is a side effect. The real thing is the aroma and flavor. I'm actually planning an episode on hazy IPAs, and we'll talk more then. But for now, let's taste Powder Charge Imperial Dark at 8.0% from the Ways in Glenside, Pennsylvania. It is dark. It's practically black. I'm holding it up to the screen here. And there's a bit of brown. Mostly it's black, though. Some nice tan foam on the top. I'm drinking this from a glass dimple mug, so it's a fairly deep pour. And there's not a lot of light getting through. Well, there's no light getting through. So, smell. A lot of fruitiness there. Melon, some sweet citrus, and some of the roasted malts, too. It's almost like a fruity coffee or chocolate. Let's taste it. And that's exactly what you taste. This almost reminds me of the fall apart chocolate oranges you see at Christmas, or at least we do. I go to wild lengths to get them for our family. But they're these chocolate oranges that you take, and they're wrapped in foil, and you whack them sharply against a table, and they fall apart into segments, and you eat this orangey chocolate. And it tastes a lot like this. Not terribly bitter. Really good fruitiness. Malt's good. You know, it's weird, but it's good. The other beers we had were good as well. If you're in anywhere near the area, I know Glenside's a little bit out of the way, but if you're down there for a show at the Glenside Theater, or the Keswick Theater, excuse me, if you're going down 309 off the Turnpike, it's a good stop. The beer's good. So that's my drink for today, and I'm going to finish it after the show. Now, before we get to the fish fry news that I know you're waiting for, I do finally have some solid show news for you. I've been hinting at a sponsor for the show for over a month, and I apologize for being vague. I probably should have waited until it was crossed and dotted, but I was excited. Now I can tell you that our first Seen Through a Glass sponsor is the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau, Center County's Tourism Information Center. Every episode, I'll be doing a short bit on a Center County business or event that I'm calling Smack Dab in the Center. I'll select the subject, I'll write it, nobody tells me what to write. HVAB was 100% on board with that. This is going to be a good thing for me, for the HVAB, and for you, because you get more Central PA stuff. More importantly, it's a start at making this self-supporting, so I can continue to bring you even more Central PA food and drink stories. Win-win-winity-win. Here's your first Smack Dab in the Center, sponsored by the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau. Have you heard about the Happy Valley Brewers Fest yet? Big Beer Festivals return to Center County on May 11th, and it's a really big venue, none bigger, Beaver Stadium. And it's on the field. That's right, you enter this festival through the South Tunnel, just like the Nittany Lions, but instead of tackling opponents, you'll be tackling a choice of beers from as many as 75 breweries. There will be Central PA favorites like Anti-Fragile and Trogs, well-known PA breweries like Dancing Gnome, Warwick Farm, and Hidden River, plus some select out-of-staters like Dewey Beer and Prison City. There will be food vendors, live entertainment, and lots of chances to talk to brewers while tasting beers from the cutting edge of small brewery innovation. Sign up for advanced ticket information now at HoppyValleyBrewersFest.com. That's Hoppy Valley, Hoppy. You'll get notification as soon as tickets become available. May 11th, Beaver freaking Stadium. I'll see you there. Now, let's get to the fish fries. Fish fries, of course, do come out of the tradition of Lenten fasting in the Catholic Church. Kind of. So let's start there. I learned about this as an adult. I converted to Catholicism as an adult in the 1990s. Not eating meat on Fridays and Ash Wednesday was seen as a sacrifice, honoring the death of Christ, which happened on a Friday. A good Catholic would eat eggs or cheese or vegetables or grains on Fridays, or fish. Fish was okay because it was not considered meat, because fish are cold-blooded. Or, it was okay because the church said so. And it used to be every Friday, not just during Lent. That changed after Vatican II in 1966 for American Catholics. How the fish exemption came to be is the topic of one of the earliest conspiracy theories I remember hearing. It wasn't word of mouth either. I read it in magazines and saw it again in the early days of the internet. According to this supposedly true and actual story of how this happened, some unnamed medieval pope had cut a deal with the fishmongers or Portuguese fishermen. It all depended on who was telling you the story. Sometimes the pope was moved by the hard times of a fisherman friend from his pre-poping days who was down on his luck because people weren't buying enough fish. And for some unspecified payoff, or to help out these failing fishers, the pope says, "Hey, I'll tell you what, I'll say everyone has to eat fish on Friday. Easy peasy. And we'll throw in a lemon squeezy. Fish sales go through the roof. Everyone's happy." Except the pig farmers, I guess, but nobody ever talked about that. The only thing is, there's absolutely no evidence that this ever happened. Brian Fagan, an emeritus professor of archaeology at the University of California, Santa Barbara, wrote a book about Catholic fasting traditions called Fish on Friday. He said in an NPR interview that many people have searched the Vatican archives on this, and they have found nothing. There is evidence that this kind of non-meat fasting first came about in the 1st century AD, when the vast majority of people didn't eat meat regularly anyway. So going without it was hardly a sacrifice. Instead, some church historians believe the idea was for everyone, the rich, the powerful, the religious hierarchy, to eat the meals of the poor to honor this Christ-like ideal. Well, maybe. Mostly, like a lot of other traditions, and not just religious traditions, the original idea behind it is somewhat obscure, and we carry on. To be honest, it's kind of like Goose Day. The origins are no longer as important as why we do it now. And what do we do? Well, I talked to a couple of people who actually do it. Pamela Callahan and Barry Pierce help run the fish fry at St. John the Evangelist in Bellefonte. I can tell you from repeated experience that it's a good one. I sat down with them last night to get this interview because they were too busy to fit it in at any other time. This is fresh stuff right off the wires. Grab a beer or a Coke or a glass of Central PA wine and enjoy. Hey, I'm at St. John the Evangelist in Bellefonte with Pam Callahan and Barry Pierce. They are the co-chairs of the fish fry dinner here. Greetings. Welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for talking. Real simple. First things first. What are the days and hours for the fish fries? And particularly, do you have a Good Friday dinner or not?
Well, we don't have a Good Friday dinner. And the days of the fish fries...
Are Fridays during the season of Lent?
So all the Fridays?
All the Fridays.
Okay.
Except Good Friday.
Except Good Friday. Right.
And then the hours are from 4 to 7.
Mm-hmm. And is that dine-in and takeout? Or
both. You can do either or. There's no pre-orders.
Okay.
So when you get here,
you order at the table
and you order, and then you go through the line.
And what is there to order?
So you can have a meal, which is a choice of one of 3 proteins. So you have baked fish, fried fish, and the shrimp. Mm-hmm. Or you get one of those, and then you have a choice of 5 sides, and the 5 sides are French fries, mac and cheese, coleslaw, applesauce, and stewed tomatoes.
Okay.
Those are your 5 sides. You can have 3 any way you want them.
Oh, okay.
3 of the 5.
3 of the 5.
Then she also has a la carte.
Yep. We have.
So adding one of those.
Well, yes. And then the a la carte items are not included with the meal, but if you want anything that's on the main meal as a side, then you can also purchase that as an additional side outside of your 3. And then the a la carte items are $4 for halushki, pierogies.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, you're getting into the interesting stuff now.
Halushki, pierogies. We do
Hush puppies.
Hush puppies. You get 6 hush puppies per serving. Mm-hmm. And then any of the other things that are already on the line, mac and cheese and French fries, you can order for an additional $4 if you want them extra. Mm-hmm. And then if you want any of the fish items, they're $7 for an a la carte, like to have extra.
And the meal?
Outside of the meal.
The meal itself?
And the meal is $13 for adults, and then for children, I guess 7 to 12 is $6, and then anybody 6 and under is free.
Oh.
And that also includes dessert and whatever
Yes.
non-alcoholic beverage.
There you go.
We have iced tea, lemonade, coffee, regular and decaf, and then the desserts are usually homemade desserts by the Catholic Daughters, but sometimes they just bring in a purchased something or other, but they're donating desserts.
Right. Actually, I'm just going to jump right to that. I had that as a question farther down. Tell me more about the desserts. What kind of stuff do they bring in?
Well, that's on her.
I'm going to jump ahead of the line here because I want to do that with dinner, too.
On the first and last Fridays that we do this, my husband makes baklava and lemon bars, which are quite popular. And then we have one of the ladies in the church. She makes chocolate cake with peanut butter frosting, and that is one of the staples of the fish fry. She makes every week. She brings them religiously. She makes 3 cakes.
Wow.
And she cuts them up and has them ready to go. She brings them to the fish fry every year. She's religious about it, so to speak. And so but that is one of the staples. But normally we have cookies, cupcakes. Some people make different things. Like this week, I'm going to make some chocolate-covered pretzels to go on the table.
Nice.
Some people make brownies, cookies, cakes, whatever they feel.
Yeah.
There's no some people bring pies.
You don't know until you get here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of what I look forward to on that. Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
How long has the church been doing this?
Oh, my.
No one remembers.
No, we are, Pam and I are just following the footsteps of parishioners that have been doing this at least as far back as 1990 that I know, because that's when I came into the community.
Okay.
So it's been going on forever. And the Catholic Daughters and the Knights of Columbus have kept it going. The church itself and the Recreant Father have been great. The school is open arms. Obviously, they let us into their building.
Right. That's where we are right now.
Yeah,
We're in the kitchen of the
school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just do a wonderful job. And then, the same with us and the Catholic. Everything we do is charity, and this community supports us, whether it's the fish fry or bingo or you have your stitches. Whatever we do, this community, not only Bellefonte, but the surrounding towns and State College, they just do a wonderful job supporting us, and hats off to them. Because they make it work.
We came here because of a friend who lives in Port Matilda. They're like, you've got to come with us, and that's how we got here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And what is it, just like generally funding the church, the charities, or is there a specific one? Or
No, there's not a specific one. We take all sorts of requests. We give scholarships. Pam can speak for her, for the Catholic Daughters. I'm not as familiar as them. But we do scholarships to all the high schools, parochial and Catholic.
Okay.
We obviously the food bank, and we did a lot of things for the Right of Life, so on and so forth. So there's just I'm the treasurer for the Knights, and I know we did over $40,000 in charity last year. But everything we do goes to charity. The same with the Catholic Daughters. I'm not familiar with all you guys' stuff, but they do a ton.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I wanted to make sure we got that in there, because that's what this is all for. We were talking earlier, and we were saying this isn't about overpricing or underpricing a restaurant. This is about making money to give to people who need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and also feeding people who need it to some extent.
Yeah, people come together, they socialize, they enjoy coming. They look forward to the fish fries every year. I know I do, and I'm working them, but it's we look forward to it because you see people you haven't seen a lot of the time, and then usually when Lent hits and the fish fries start, people start to come out after winter, and you visit and you socialize. So it's not just raising money; it's also bringing community together.
Yeah.
So.
And you do see the same people every year, right?
Right. So
and the same people here.
When I worked at Penn State many years ago, there was a postman who worked at the post office on campus. He retired. And the first time I had seen him again since I left Penn State and he retired was here at the fish fries. So, and he comes every year.
Yeah.
So, you get to know people, but also you see the people that, you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
But,
Then you just hope you can remember their name.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's the hard part for me.
We served, so last week, our first week, we served 376 meals, roughly.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. And it all just comes together. You don't have professionals involved in any way here, right?
Nope. Everybody's a volunteer.
Yeah. How do you pass on that how to do it piece?
I learned from volunteering myself and just watch them, and they'll critique you.
They're not afraid to tell you what you're doing wrong.
Yeah. I'm not going to say whether it's polite or not.
Sure.
But, you get critiqued, it's just it's a rite of passage, I guess. So it's a lot of fun, and we really have it's hard work. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
You're on your feet all day long,
Yes.
but we have a lot of fun. Because there's no cameras and there's no microphones, so
Oops.
you have a real good time, and again, you're running up down these steps a million times, but you're just trying to make it nice and smooth.
Yeah.
And then she runs the show from upstairs. She's got her cell phone, and then whatever they need.
Oh, you're up at the.
I'm
at the front
upstairs.
door. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
She's
at
on
the
the
front
floor.
door.
She's
I'm
on
on
the
the floor.
Oh,
so when
okay.
people are going through the line, I'm in the dining area and then the line. So when people come in through the door after they've paid and they come to the line, I'm observing the line and the dining room, and if they're running short of something on the line,
Go ahead.
my husband cooks down here too. So him and I got together, and in order to make it easier, because it used to be the Knights were running upstairs asking what we needed, or they'd come downstairs, or somebody would have to go somewhere to figure out, can you tell the guys that I need this? And then somebody would come upstairs and say, oh, you're short on that. So then they'd go back downstairs and they'd grab it too. So then I'd have two coming upstairs.
Right.
Which is too much at one time.
Yeah, and we had to fine line that because people would be telling me and they'd be telling her, and we'd be getting different messages back and forth.
Yeah, so...
so we made it very clear that everything goes through Pam upstairs. She'll bring it downstairs, and I'll handle everything downstairs. And if we have an issue or if there's a concern, I'll run up to her. She'll come down to me. And that way, everybody knows.
You talk to him, talk to them, right.
You need to speak to Pam or you need to speak to Barry, and we'll get it together.
Yeah, but
that definitely sounds like something that needs to be handed on to the next generation, too.
Well, the streamlining of it so that we don't have so much miscommunication is, if I need something upstairs, I will send a text message to my husband. My husband says, Pam needs.
Yeah.
And the guys bring it up.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, we just love it.
I mean, a lot of people have said they like it, but...
No, it is good. The problem is, if we miss something, I mean, you just can't put fish on in 3 minutes. It's there.
Right.
People are waiting in line.
Right.
Yes.
The hard part is, and we're still a work in progress, since we only have 2 fryers, and shrimp has to be all by itself. You can't do anything else with shrimp, though. Those fryers need to go just for shrimp. So, and, the biggest thing that'll knock a line down is French fries.
Yes.
People go through French fries. We went through 60 pounds. It's the first time we've ever gone through 60 pounds of French fries. So I had to order 3 cases this week. Well, that's not going to happen.
That was one of the things I did want to ask. Is it the same sides every year? I mean, is that pretty much set?
Yes. We cup them like McDonald's. You put them in the sleeves. So, everything's the same. We have it, our wholesale out of Harrisburg. Rachel Kerstetter is the sales lady in this area. She's just great. They work with us. Their products are excellent. Well, you've been to our fish fries. I mean, that is a nice piece of fish. It's like, holy moly. And their prices are extremely reasonable. We sit down, and I'll go over the price list with Pam. And the committee is, okay, here, this is what this costs at Sam's. This is what this costs to keep it so we can have a price that is family friendly.
Yeah.
We're not. We just want people to come and enjoy themselves and be able to afford it and not price anybody out. So hopefully, this is 2 years in a row we've kept it 3. It was $12. We went to 13 last year. We kept it at 13 this year.
Still holding the line.
Mm-hmm. Holding the line. And, the paper products actually have gone down, so it kind of evened itself out.
They got a little crazy for a while.
They did.
Yeah.
The paper products, oil. It seems to be stabilized, and if we can hold the fort and encourage people to come and solicit what we're doing, that's great.
Now, you both belong to organizations that are bigger than just this parish. Is there communication? Do you guys talk about this?
Lock Haven Parish does a fish fry. So, I've talked to them. I sent them our menu, and they were like, are you kidding? And not only there's Catholic churches, I've talked to the other denominations. And, I explained to them how we do it. There's no secret to it. So, but I think there's not too many people doing fish fries anymore.
No.
I know State College doesn't do one. I know Lock Haven does. Mm-hmm. I can't speak for Phillipsburg or Snowshoe. I think there's another parish in this general area that does. I'm not sure. Yeah,
it seems to be still a bunch down around Altoona.
Well,
Altoona, Tyrone.
Well, the diocese is there, so that's
we'll push it.
Yeah, no, it's just a larger group of large group of Catholics.
Yeah,
and it's something the Catholic Daughters and Knights have done as a joint venture everywhere. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the community thing is just great. Do you do any other dinners during the year, or is it just fish fries during Lent?
No, we do we do a free Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, nice.
That's at the Knights of Columbus Hall.
Over in the hill?
Yeah, it's over on
Stony
Batter. We may do a spaghetti dinner. We do a soup and salad every October. We do a soup sale.
And you do some breakfast too, right?
We do a breakfast every month.
I've been to that too.
Yeah. We just had one. It's the third Saturday of the month.
Okay.
So we try to keep active. And people enjoy it. As long as they enjoy it and we can do it, that's fine. That's fine.
For us, we're usually, we do baby shower bingos for our fundraisers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And this year, our donations are going to be going to the needy families or a fund that the parish has. So a lot of people show up to the rectory office looking for help.
Yeah.
And if Father has the ability, then he'll give it, and he doesn't necessarily, doesn't matter who you are.
Right.
Like, or what your need is. Denomination or whatever.
Yeah.
If you're in need of something and he has the ability to provide some assistance, he will, and that's why we're doing this, because he gives.
Father Brian's got a big heart.
He does. So we really appreciate all the volunteers that
Very good.
come to help put this together. All the Knights, all the Catholic Daughters, and now there's even people just from the parish in general.
Just jumping in.
Just asking if they can help and where they can, where can you put me? Where can I help you? So I just want to make sure we thank all of our volunteers for all the time and effort they give out.
That's what makes it happen. Yeah. That's great.
All.
Thanks, Pam. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, Barry.
Nice meeting you.
Take care. Well, I can't lie. After editing that interview, I cannot wait till Friday. Love me some fish fry. I've got a couple more interesting fish fry side stories for you. One of the weirder ones is a medieval Catholic story about Lenten fasting that's actually true. It's about a goose, the barnacle goose, a shore-dwelling black goose native to Ireland and Scotland. Irish and Welsh monks somehow managed to convince themselves that this goose grew from barnacles attached to driftwood and was therefore okay to eat during Lent. All right, the goose does have a somewhat barnacle-like neck and migrates to Greenland to nest and raise the goslings, so the monks never actually saw them lay eggs. But you gotta believe that mostly, they just wanted some roast goose. This practice actually lasted for about 150 years until a bishop in the, 11th century, I think it was, finally said, yeah, guys, no, it's a goose. There are other non-fish meats that are allowed. Frog's legs, for instance, are okay. And chicken's eggs and cow's cheese are animal products that are okay. And in the Archdiocese of New Orleans, yes, you can have alligator on Fridays. If you look at our fish fries, breaded and fried white fish, potatoes, it does look a lot like the British staple fish and chips. Funny thing is, battered fried fish is believed to have been brought to England in the 1600s by Sephardic Jews, cooking a traditional Spanish meal of pescado frito. Something like chips are mentioned in the Cook's Oracle, an 1817 cookbook. They are believed to have first come together in the 1860s, and they almost immediately became universal. And then there's a whole separate Black American fish fry tradition that goes along with barbecue as cheap food made good and becoming a community event. Barbecue was a way to make delicious food from cuts the better-off folks didn't want, and anyone with a line to pull could catch a fish dinner. Funny thing is, when Catholic fasting started to drive the sales at the fish market, black fish fries became a Friday tradition too, because the Catholics drove the market. Tell you, it turns out I had no idea how American fish fries are. Friday fish fries are offered by many restaurants. There are many restaurants in the upper Midwest that offer them year-round. If I'm in Madison, Wisconsin on a Friday night, I guarantee you're going to find me at the Old Fashioned, right across from the Capitol building, drinking local draft beer and eating walleye. Around here, well, you can get a fish fry at Yorkholo Brew Pub in Mansfield, at DJ's Cafe in Tyrone, at the Brown Dog in Phillipsburg, or the Beaver Street Cafe in Hastings, and other places. And that's all good, but most times, I want that fire company, church basement, Legion Hall fish fry experience. But where are your local fish fries? How do you locate a fish fry when you're out on the road? Or if you just want to find far-flung fish fries for fun? After reading an article about an interactive fish fry map for the Pittsburgh area, I think it's high time for an interactive fish fry map for Central PA. We need coders to cooperate with the fire halls, the Altoona, Johnstown, Erie, and Harrisburg dioceses, and the legions and VFWs to create a grand fish fry map spanning the center of the state. What a great idea. Or, keep doing it the same way it's always been done, with signs by the roadside, word of mouth, and AM radio. You gotta believe that if you want fish fry, you're gonna find fish fry. There is help. The Altoona, Johnstown, and Harrisburg dioceses have online guides to the parishes doing regular fish fries. WTAJ in Altoona has a list that they've promised to update as they find more fish fries, and my friend Sue Gleiter is once again doing a Harrisburg area list for PennLive. I'll have all those links on the Facebook page and in the show notes. It's fish fry time, folks. I do have a short Lockhaven follow-up for you. Way back in episode 10, almost a year ago, I had to make some choices about which places I was going to visit in Lockhaven for the show. One of those choices was to overlook, for the time being, what people told me were the two best places in town for cocktails, Stella A's and the Main Street Grill. I promised I'd get back to them because I wanted to visit the Piper Museum and a couple other places in town. Well, last week was my birthday, and my son and his partner visited from Philly, so I suggested that we could go to Lockhaven Saturday night and try out the Main Street Grill. MSG is an old-school bar and grill. There's a bar, which dominates the space, and there are tables, and the kitchen's kind of open in the back. It was warm and busy, and rang with cheerful conversation that was unstunted by the big-screen basketball game. Kathy got an orange cranberry mule. Sade got an espresso martini beautifully done. Tom and I got beers. There were only 2 draft beers. One I wasn't interested in. The other was Bell's Hop Slam, a 10% bruiser that I didn't really want to start the evening with. So I had a can of Troeg's Perpetual IPA and relaxed. It had been a cold and snowy drive, which is maybe why we all opted for a cup of soup. I got the stuffed pepper. Everyone else got lobster crab bisque. My soup was so good that I'm definitely going to try making some of my own. A rich tomato broth, soft and flavorful strips of pepper, and good spoonfuls of rice. The bisque was full-bodied and chunky with pieces of shellfish. For our mains, Kathy got shrimp and grits. Sade got the house royal scallops, which grilled scallops topped with crab meat. And Thomas got a gridlock salad, a Pittsburghish bowl of greens with grilled chicken and french fries on top. I got the Hawaiian glazed salmon, which came with a good portion of steamed broccoli and a very cheesy risotto. The glaze was pineapple habanero, and it was as advertised, sweet and tangy with a long, slow burn. The salmon itself was excellent, good flake, and seared crisply, but not overdone. My only real complaint was that there probably could have been about half as much of the glaze. I scraped some off so I could savor the fish. We were all very pleased with our meals, and the cocktails were indeed quite good. Main Street Grill was friendly and warm, and definitely worth a stop. Lockhaven continues to captivate. That's the show. Thanks to Pamela Callahan and Barry Pierce for talking to me during the height of fish fry season. I know I'll see them again because that St. John's fish fry is a regular for us. In fact, we're going to go there tomorrow, so the pictures for this episode will be a day late. As always, you can see those episode-related pics on Instagram at STAG Podcast and on Facebook at Seen Through a Glass. If you're listening to the show on the radio at WSOV, there are over 30 more episodes to enjoy, including a Milheim episode and a Nittany Valley episode at seenthroughaglass.podbean.com. That's Podbean, PODBEAN.com. Or you can find us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to toss a bit in my hat to keep the show going, I have a coffee button in my Instagram link tree. That's at Stag Podcast, and at the Facebook page. Coffee, it's KO-FI, is an easy way to drop me a few bucks online to help keep this going. And if you've already donated, thank you. Despite what you might think, what you may have been told, Pennsylvania is not named for William Penn. As a Quaker, he thought that would be prideful. It's actually named for his father, who was also named William Penn. I don't make this stuff up, I just reported. The next episode is already done. Let's say I wasn't completely sure that this interview would happen in time, so I prepped a town profile on Mansfield, up in Tioga County, and interviewed Jarrod York at Yorkholo Brewing. You'll get that in 2 weeks. Well, unless you're getting it today, in which case I guess you'll get the fish fry episode in 2 weeks. Until then, thanks for listening. This is Lou Bryson on Seen Through a Glass from the smack dab center of the Keystone State.